What's happening, everybody? This is Gate 7 International. We are back a couple hours after what was very anxious, but still a +3, still a victory, and we're going to take it. That's what we care about now. We're here to chat with you guys about all things Olympiacos related to this match as well. I am Adi, your host, and I'm joined by Martial, our French contingent. Martial, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's four victory in a row now, so I haven't been more happy than I am now.
I agree with you. It's a great time. It's fun to be an Olympiacos fan again.
Yeah,
Even when you're playing not so good and the game maybe is difficult, to still be getting these victories. So we're going to get into all of it, everyone, but don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. A huge chunk of you are already tuning in. Takes 2 seconds. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to hear more related to the red and white. That helps us really. It boosts us in the algorithm and helps us find more red and white fans. Really helps us. Costs you nothing. So please take a second and hit that button right now. You can also support us on Patreon if you don't already. The WhatsApp group, always, it's 24/7. The WhatsApp group is always flying. So it doesn't matter what time zone you're in, there's action for you. Any time of the day, you can join for just $1 a month. And in the WhatsApp group, we also share information, inside information that we do not share on socials. So if you want some of that information, early access to data, check it out. You can also get access to episodes, extra episodes. We do 2 usually a month, something with a statistical analysis and an interview with a special guest that may have some relation to Olympiacos, but usually is outside of the realm. So if you would like to support us more, check out our Patreon. Now, in a few moments, we'll have the man of the match poll going up, so you'll get a chance to vote. We're going to chat a little bit about the game. So, Martial, how did you see the game from the lineup? Obviously, we knew it was going to be a little bit rotated, but what did you think of the starting lineup that you saw today?
the lineup was good for me. I was expecting more changes from Mendilibar, especially with Rodinei and Heze, because I do believe that probably they are the two most used player since the beginning of the season. A part of that, Mendilibar probably still needs to learn a little bit more about the squad he has, because he clearly came in an emergency situation. He hadn't had time to evaluate players. So the lineup was good for me. The thing is, I wasn't expecting the team to play that slow, if I can say that. I was expecting strong start to get that goals early, and obviously they did that on purpose because they wanted to win. But I was expecting a little bit more of realism. But we've seen those games before. If you're an Olympiacos fan longer than me, you probably saw Greek games like that probably hundreds of times, if not more. And the thing you need is to be the first team to score, to kill that game. And out of nowhere, Asteras scored a pretty much nice goal, nice finish from I don't remember the name of the player, but the finish was kind of nice. And I knew from that time that it was going to be a mess, a strong game. I don't know the word in English, but it reminds me of a cup game, that the Lamia game again with Martins, for example. You need to overturn that, and you're throwing every players on it. But to answer to your question, the lineup was good for me. I wasn't expecting much change. I was happy to see Richards as the left back starting, and maybe one young player would have been nice, but it's not the right context for that, I assume.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I didn't have an issue with the rotations that were done. I know there was a lot of people, especially in the WhatsApp chat, that weren't huge fans of Navarro. But as far as here's one for you to maybe later at the end of the show, Martial, you can share with us some League Two players that you think would be fun targets. So going back to the Navarro thing, it's going into this game, and I know I shared this in the WhatsApp group. if you're going to do rotation for El Kabi, I didn't. I would have liked to see maybe El Arabi at some point. I'm surprised that he wasn't even in the list. But anyway, um, that was definitely a little bit of a surprise for me. But Navarro going into this game, technically higher goal conversion percentage. So it was a comfortable rotation option. Now he was bad for me today. He missed a lot of golden opportunities. Overall, we missed a lot. Even El Kabi had missed a bunch, and he even before the offsides happened, or sorry, before the penalty was called, he was offsides and the goal didn't count that we had gotten just before the offsides. So I was okay with all of that. We got a chance to see Cabral. You already brought up Richards in his natural position, not as a left wing. I was okay with all of it. Ibora. And I even to that point when we were down 1-0, I did not think we played bad at all. How can you say you're not playing well when before we scored the goal, we had 24 opportunities. This is like FIFA, Martial. It's like you're playing a game of FIFA. You are destroying the guy you're playing against, but he got the lucky set piece goal against you, and you're drumming him. Over 60% possession, which, how many games have we seen, especially in the last few months, where we are not only dominating in all aspects of the game and getting all of these opportunities, we just couldn't score.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Agree that we were having a bad game because of all of those things. I mean, the buildup was fine. I mean, sure, maybe we expected Asteras would be a little bit more defensive, but we had one defensive mistake. We had one bad mistake, and we ate it. But that's football sometimes. But
Oh, yeah, right.
we were making where I felt comfort in was that we were making so many opportunities. We were getting into the final third, into the penalty area. Martial, and we will verify this when Y Scout populates later. But if we're looking at SofaScore, do you know how many shots we had inside the penalty area today?
Probably 15.
19. We had 19 shots inside the penalty area. And that is the highest we have had all season. We have never had a match where we had 19 shots inside the penalty area. So, and why is this important? Because anything that you get that's inside the penalty area is usually a pretty decent chance. When it's outside, it's from distance. Those are very low XG opportunities. So it's a good sign that we weren't just getting opportunities that were from distance and random things that had never had a chance in hell of going in. But the fact that we made so many opportunities while penetrating the penalty area, that to me was a good sign. So that's what I took comfort in, because we've had games now that we've seen over the course of the last 3 months where not only are we struggling to score against the minnow, but we're not creating a lot of opportunities, or we can barely cross into the final third. So there are games that I would have been. There are different situations where I've been way more frustrated than I was today. The fact that we were able to create so many opportunities, I felt like how I feel watching Ike a lot this season before they started scoring goals, where they were dominating games, but they couldn't finish, but they were creating plenty of opportunity. That's what I felt watching this game today. I don't know if it's the same for you.
Yeah, because at some point you knew we were going to not score, because I cannot say I was 100% sure we would score. But when you attack like that and when you have that quality on the bench, the key was being able to convert a situation. Like when El Khabi came in, I was thinking, okay, this guy, he will just need to convert situation, because he will have them and he needs to convert them. And well, the penalty it's a situation, but the second goal, it's exactly what I was expecting him to do today. And on Navarro, the issue I have is I don't know if it's the kind of game is useful for because the easy Greek game, if I can call them like that, requires someone like with killer instinct, like probably someone like El Arabi in best case, but even El Kahabi, like to kill it. And Navarro was good for me against PAOK away.
Right.
It wasn't amazing, but the goal he scored was exactly what I was expecting him to do. And today, you see that he's kind of struggling when he has to be there when someone is crossing, or the second ball if the goalkeeper make a save and stuff like that. And if he scored the first situation he had, it would have been a very different game from him and for the team. But yeah, he also needs to not patience, but it's part of the process for him to learn, because he was barely playing for Porto, and I'm not even sure he played with that much of pressure, because as I said on the chat, we are not trying to save the first position. We're trying to get back to the first position. Like, we need points at all costs.
Right.
And when you're a striker, it's not the good situation. And I agree with the comment saying it's too static. It needs probably to learn a little bit more with El Arabi, how to be more vicious on the area, not to be before the defender. But it's part of the process for him.
Yep. And this is the comment from Lakis Gavalas, I think, that you're referencing.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he says he's too static with bad positioning, and I agree with you. So and this is what I worried about when I had done the scouting report on Navarro. He doesn't offer really anything else. Like, okay, yeah, he does press for you. He does do some off the ball work, but he's a poacher. Like, if he's not scoring for you, he doesn't do anything for you. He's not like El Arabi, who can help you and build up, or maybe make something on his own. He needs to get a good opportunity. And Navarro isn't strong. He's not big either. So he's not really winning you a lot of headers. He's not really winning you a lot of goals in those types of situations. It has to be because his positioning is good that he gets into situations. And that's how it was. In the scouting report I saw, like, the goals he's scoring, he was getting a rebound, something was falling to him, or he was in good positioning. And today it was bad. Like, he wasn't getting into great scoring positions. And when he was getting the ball to his feet, he wasn't doing much with it. So, and that's the risk that you run when you bring in a guy like this, because if that's all he's good for, when he's not scoring, it looks really bad. But Martial, before we continue with more analysis later on in the game, it's already been brought up in the chat, and it's something you and I began to discuss a little bit off camera, but no Masouras.
Yeah.
And this is weird to me.
No, me too.
Because he started in the match, the first leg against Ferencvaros, and since then we haven't really seen much from him. And it's just really weird, especially considering that since every coach that has come through Olympiacos, Masouras is always like the first name on the team sheet. And the fact that now we've gone basically 3 games in a row and he's not playing, or not, I should say, not starting at least, it's kind of odd. Or it just seems very odd to me. And today was a game where he, maybe.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I would have played him today because he hasn't played. He hasn't started in 3 matches. He should have been fresh.
No, you're right. And at the end of the game, I was thinking, okay, if
Oh, I think we lost Martial here. Martial, are you back?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I think we lost you.
No, yeah, you're right. I was saying, if he's not starting against Panetolikos, I will get worried, because I'm assuming, like, the game on Wednesday is of course equally important as the one of today, but you still need a strong lineup. And the fact is, Mendilibar now has lots of depth in the squad. And probably also Mendilibar is not a big fan of Masouras' profile. Could be. Also, his contract is ending,
Yes.
so the uncertainty of the future could be a factor. But I'm not sure the club would risk that because I don't sure the case is closed yet. So my guess is that Mendilibar will use him on the next two Super League games. Probably not as a starter, but yeah, it's visible anyway that Podense now and Fortounis leads the team offensively with El Kaabi. Like there is no much room for Masouras on this lineup, unless Mendilibar decides to bench Fortounis, which is very probable on Wednesday. But yeah, it's concerning. Yeah. It's concerning the fact that Masouras has been not used like that. We are not used to that. That's the conclusion, I would say, because Masouras has been playing back-to-back games since I can remember. So yeah, let's not forget too that with Europe it's 2 more games, so it's like almost 15 games to play, if not more, if we go past Maccabi Tel Aviv. So it's kind of a big amount of games. We will need Masouras either as a starter or off the bench. It will not be erased like that.
You're not wrong. The only thing I will say is, because I definitely brought this up in the scouting report, and I think a couple people in the chat at least watched that. The one thing you brought this up already when you spoke about maybe he doesn't like Masouras' profile as much. And I think that definitely is part of it, especially as a winger. Like Masouras does not fit the profile of wingers Mendilibar likes to use, right? We talked about in the scouting report and the tactics analysis that he likes wingers that he gives them, that's the position he gives the most freedom to do things offensively. Likes them to go dribble on players, dribble on defenders, and make things happen. Well, of the players at our disposal on the wing, even Cabral has a higher propensity to dribble past players than Masouras does. That's not something Masouras does. Masouras is basically like a forward. He's basically like a forward that plays wide. Makes great runs, can finish here and there, does great work. But if he's not going to play behind the striker in this system, which he fits more of the mold of what Mendilibar wants as a workhorse behind the striker, then I don't see him starting on the wings if that's the case. And the fact that we're seeing him not playing so much multiple games in a row, that is my suspicion. Yeah. And I'm not going to be surprised if maybe this is the role we see Masouras have going forward, because we know what Mendilibar wants on the wings. We know that that's the position he gives people the most leeway. So that's where you're going to see Fortounis. That's where you see Podence there, and other players, Gelson Martins, and even Cabral when he plays. And unless Masouras is going to be playing behind the striker, I just don't see where he's going to play as a starter. Even then, like, are you going to break up that trio, except maybe to rest them of Horta, Chiquinho, and Heze? Are you going to break that up? No, you're not. So it's just weird. It's just weird to see that we now find ourselves in a situation where Masouras isn't the first name on the team sheet. But
also, I kind of feel like Mendilibar loves Jovetic.
Yes.
He appreciates Jovetic. I wouldn't say he loves him, but he appreciates Jovetic. And I think Jovetic is kind of eating Masouras' playing time under Mendilibar, because the way Jovetic is used when he comes in, could be the way Masouras could play for the club under Mendilibar. Like today, for example, I was expecting Masouras to come in instead of Jovetic for, I think it was for Iborra, or it was for Navarro. I don't remember. No, it was El Kaabi, Iborra. Anyway.
It was for, so Jovetic ended up coming in for El Kaabi. Wait a minute.
I think El Kaabi was for Iborra, but
no, Jovetic. Yeah, wait a minute, Jovetic.
But the thing is, Jovetic is back into the equation.
Yeah, Jovetic came out for Navarro, or he came in for Navarro.
Yeah.
El Kaabi came in for Iborra.
No, but I'm expecting, and it was exactly what I was going to say. Sorry. The Masouras role is not ending today. Like, we still have Europe, we still have uh, playoff, and even in playoffs, you have a easy game probably against Lamia or Asteras,
Right.
and Masouras will start those games because we do have Europe in the middle of that. So,
Has to. It's he can't just go unused for forever.
and what if it turns to be the X factor of the playoff without being a starter? It's possible too. Like 2-3 goals out of the bench. Why not? I do see
Yeah.
Masouras playing that role
That wouldn't surprise me either, to be honest with you.
because the lineup,
Um,
the ideal lineup of Mendilibar is kind of known now, even if it's only 4 games. I don't see it changing.
yeah, he has to be used. There. It wouldn't be pragmatic to not be using him. Anyway, question here from Yodos Mozanos: Has Gelson Martins returned to training? If I remember correctly, the line was that he's available from the playoffs. So if he's going to be available for selection by the playoffs, then if he's not training with the first team, then he's got to be doing some kind of training, um, more or less getting back to full speed at least. But that's the line was that he's available come playoffs. That's for Gelson Martins. One other one that we'll talk about, another quick worry, individual worry, we'll say, Costas Fortounis. So there's quite a few people that have shared some concern about, you know, we were used to him just being one of the key sources of our goal contributions. And then, under Carvajal, he had an assist in that entire time, and that was it. He ended up getting, I think it was a goal he scored against Offi, but then the nothing in the Ferencváros games, nothing in terms of goal contributions. That is, no goal contribution, no goal contributions against Balk, and then nothing against Ferencváros in leg 2. And then coming out of this game as well, I don't think he had any goal involvements. Because Horta assisted El Kabi's second and Podence drew the first penalty. So Costa's now gone 4 games without a goal contribution. He had one against Offi, and then he only had an assist under Carvajal, one assist from the time of Bachka Topola until Offi. So is there a concern for you for Costas Fortunis' form? Or is there something else maybe that people are not paying attention to that we should be taking note under Mendilibar?
First of all, there is a big concern for me because offensively speaking, he was probably the worst player of Olympiacos in BAUK and against Ferencváros in both games. Like the 3 games of Mendilibar, he has been one of the most the poorest offensive guy. Like missing passes that could have led to a good situation, poor crossing ability, very average on set pieces, and the rhythm he was putting on those games, was too slow for me. So there is a concern because it's not the Fortunis we know. It's not its accuracy, and it has become predictable for the opponents because the thing I hate when he does that, when he runs with the ball and he crashes into a defender or an opponent to win a foul, and it kind of kills the play. He wins a foul, but it's killing the play. But on the opposite side, I do believe that with Mendilibar, he has been transformed into a more defensive player. He's useful for the team, even if he's wasting offensive situation. I know probably he's kind of tired because he has been playing for the whole season for the first time since his first injury, probably like from the beginning of the season until now. And so I'm kind of pissed off by the way he's playing, but at the same time, seeing Fortunis defending like that, allows him to miss passes or crosses because he hasn't been doing that before. And that's why the team has become a team again. And same applies for Podense. And it's probably more visible for Podense because when Podense does not want to play for manager, he shows that. He shows it.
Yeah.
Fortounis is probably a little bit smarter on that point, but the thing is, the way you don't, when you see Fortounis nowadays, now in the last 4 games, you don't feel that he's a foreign body of the team. Like he's
Nope.
trying to win the ball, he's tackling, even with the referee, he's claiming fouls, he's arguing more with the referee because he wasn't doing that much before. So yeah, probably he needs a rest on Wednesday, but I can't really complain on Fortounis as much as I was complaining before because the team now does not depend only on Fortounis. That's the big difference.
Yes, and you're 100% right there. Before oh my God, Carvajal. Before Carvajal arrived, Podence and Fortunis accounted for like very close to half of our goal contributions just between the two of them. That's very scary. It shouldn't be. You can't really be relying on just one person or two people. Otherwise, people are just going to hone in on them, and they won't be able to produce if the defensive strategy revolves around containing those guys. But I'm glad you brought up the point about the defensive things, and I think there's a good comment here from Andreas Mitsis. Mendilibar demands more from Fortunis in defense than he previously had to do or did. This takes energy off of his offensive production. I think that's 100% right. If you guys look at his defensive involvements in the last few matches, I mean, it's more than he did previously in months. Jumping in the air to get balls, slide tackles, interceptions. He had multiple interceptions against Ferencváros that propelled us into dangerous situations. So I think what I think we need to reconcile with when it comes to him, we were so used to just seeing the magical Fortunis that we did, looking like he was going to break his previous goal contributions record with us. But we're getting a Fortunis that's playing more like a team player, doing the dirty work, getting behind the ball, doing more of that. And that's less glorious. It just is. You know what I mean? Less highlights, less him scoring and saving us with his goal single-handedly. He's doing more that maybe he should be doing. And maybe that's more representative of what a captain should be doing as well.
Exactly. That's exactly that.
So that
you
I think it's important to check that.
Yeah, you're right. And you can't, like, as much as I like to pinpoint Fortunis when he has a wrong game, but the fact that we won those 4 games and the way we won them make it like not symbolic, but it's drawn into the positivity of the winning streak. Like I don't know how to say that better, but Fortunis being bad is not a big matter as it was before. When, for example, if it was with Carvajal and Fortunis was playing like that, I would be super mad because I knew the team was depending on Fortunis to win.
Right.
No, it's not. It's not the case anymore. We had Chiquinho, Horta coming in the winter. We had Carmo in defense. We had El Khabi back from the African Cup of Nations. So we have way more options now, and this weight has to free a little bit more Fortunis on the pitch. And I think the change is already visible. And maybe it's not excluded that Fortunis can mute as a player. Like, it's not going to be the same Fortunis forever. Maybe Mendilibar can change him. I might be too optimistic saying that, but in a career, you have to face coaches that will probably change you.
Right.
It could happen.
And yet make an adjustment. But to be fair to him also, Martial, just because he's not getting the goals and the assists, if we're looking at his underlying data, that also hasn't changed. His average, if we're looking at like XG, right? If we're looking at the shot opportunities he gets, if we're looking at his creations in the form of XA or key passes, right? If in his last few games, he's got 10 key passes. in his last few games. He's averaging 2 key passes a match. If we're looking at his last 5 games, he's got this almost just the same average game per game. If we're looking at expected goal contribution, so he's got almost the same number of service into the penalty area. He's creating almost the same level of opportunities he always has. The only difference between then and now, he's not scoring the opportunities at an absurd rate that he was before. And the service he's giving to those players, they're also not scoring. Some of the misses from Fran Navarro, some of the misses from El Kabi, they're not scoring those opportunities. So even though we're not seeing, he's doing more defensive work and the underlying data is the same, we're just not seeing the actual goal production. And that's where the sentiment is. But if we're looking at what he's actually contributing more, because he's contributing more defensively than he was contributing offensively before. So this is what the issue is with Kostas Fortounis. So for me, I don't think his form is actually dipping. I think we're still seeing the same. He's just come down to earth in terms of the actual goal output, right? Because let's be honest, Martial, what he was doing when Martinez was here was kind of absurd. Yeah. I mean, he was scoring everything.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no way you could have expected that to stay there. It was impossible for him to keep up that level of output. And he has come back down to earth. We're seeing the same volume into the penalty area, same number of shots that he's been getting game after game. He's just not scoring as many, and not his players aren't scoring as many goals. But what he is doing is contributing more defensively. So that is the real story behind Kostas Fortounis. And I think in a way we all need to be happy about it. But he also needs a rest too. He was never a player that could run up and forth, do defensive work for 90 minutes as it was. And he looked, I mean, him and a few other players looked dead today. Hezé as well. And we can talk about Hezé too. But Hezé to me just looked like, I don't want to say a corpse, but this man looked like he was ready to sleep. This guy needed to go home and relax. But there was a lot of that. A lot of people completely exhausted. But anyway, lot that can be said about all of that. But we talked about Masouras, we talked about Kostas Fortounis. Was there any other part of the match that you wanted to talk about, whether it was tactically or the coach? Did we bring up the coach's comments, Mendilibar's comments after the game today?
Yeah, I was going to speak about that, but before that, I would say I won't say like, because it's a too big word, but Iborra being used is positive sign for me, because I think people would need to rewatch the Iborra's entrance against Ferencváros. Like, he won basically every duel he has to play, either in the air or by tackling. I know it's kind of primitive football he's playing. Like, he's not going to pass the ball from one point to the field to another, but he has things to offer to the team, and I still not understand why it disappeared from the team, the lineup, with Carvajal. And of course, with the quality that came during the winter, he's not going to play much. But I do see him coming in during derbies in playoff, if we have to keep a score, or to, like, if we are drawing somewhere, to keep the point and stuff. It's useful, and Mendilibar probably is the right guy to use what Iborra can bring to the team.
Yeah,
it wasn't that good today, but it still has things to offer for me.
Here's a comment for you, Martial, from Christos. Why does he hate Alexandropoulos? Guys, I don't think he hates Alexandropoulos, but I will tell you, especially because, and you can catch this on Patreon, I did the enhanced analysis on our first leg against Ferencváros, and Alexandropoulos is not the most positionally sound player. Alexandropoulos wanders, he gets lost, and gaps occur in the midfield. Now, Alexandropoulos is full of energy and hustle. That's what Martinez loved about him. That's why Carvajal also liked to use him. but the guy doesn't stick to shape, which is part of the problem. Look, he's still young, but he has a bit to learn, and you love his enthusiasm and his passion. But I'm telling you guys that right now, he's not disciplined enough in that. Does that make sense, Martial? In that
Yeah,
respect, to be a player that Mendilibar likes to use. I mean, guys, Mendilibar is there's the scheme, your role in the scheme, and then that's it.
and I was surprised when Sporting came to take Alexandropoulos, because I do believe he's a talented player. He has potential, but he never was a starter anywhere. Like, not even in Panathinaikos. He wasn't a full starter for Panathinaikos, and it probably lacks this 30%. I don't know, say that is not finished as a player. Is not made fully as a player.
Right.
You would need probably a 30, 40 games season somewhere in Belgium or Netherlands, and to launch properly his career, because he has so much energy, he has lots of talent, he's good technically, but it's difficult for him to be a starter for Olympiacos. And but maybe on Alexandropoulos, I tend to believe that the player that did not came in today will start in Agrinho, such as Masouras, such as Alexandropoulos.
Right.
I don't know if Hendoy is injured or not, or Retos. Probably one of those two will start in Agrinho.
Wouldn't surprise me.
If you read between the lines and you have 3 games in a week, you change 3-4 players each game for me.
That makes sense.
The last one is Volos, right? So yeah, you can
Yes.
probably field the same lineup as you field today against Asteras, because Volos has nothing to play left.
This is a comment from George Paliatos. So this is the same George in the Patreon chat asking, why hasn't Zorlakis played at all this season? Well, there's a couple reasons behind that. He also hasn't signed a renewal. And, we have never been, when it comes to young goalkeepers, we've never been exactly the most positive into introducing them. But if he signs a renewal, I'm sure maybe we see him go out on loan. But anyway, I doubt. I don't know at this point if we'll see Zorlakis much. Das who here? Das who? Fortounis is first in making turnovers in the Super League. That is true. But there's another stat that you're not including with that. He is by far the highest passing volume, most passes attempted in the Super League also. So that's not necessarily a function of proportion, but just a function of the fact that he has that many more touches than everybody else and more attempts dribbling too. But if you take his losses as a proportion of his total action count, it's still up there. I think he's still like top 10 in terms of turnovers, but he's not number one. But a lot of that is a function of him just having more touches on the ball than everybody else. Even today, over 100 touches on the ball today. So, but just bearing that in mind, guys. Question here about the buyout for Alexandropoulos. It's $4 million. We're not paying $4 million. He's not worth $4 million. I trust me. I'm a huge Alexandropoulos fan. I actually have his jersey. You guys have seen that on the previous show, but there's no value for $4 million. 1.5, I'd take him, especially because he's Greek. But I don't think that's happening.
Also, the Solaki thing is, it reminds me when Martins was using every keeper he had, and I kind of hated that when he was fielding Christensen and subbing the goalkeeper during playoffs when the title was secured. I do feel bad for Solakis, but I kind of like the fact that Paschalakis is the starter and will likely play every single game until the end, even if we do secure a spot before the last game.
Right.
We probably, I don't know. Solakis' development was I don't know. It's difficult to launch a goalkeeper, but we need a number one and a number two. And playing Tolakis on games like that, it's only good if the team wins comfortably. You don't want to create another problem uh, on top of other problem you already have.
Absolutely.
And
I think
especially
you're
Pasolakis gets renewed, so he's here to play every game.
we haven't really talked about Horta at all today.
No.
What did you make of his match?
I don't recall the player named Madi Camara anymore. I don't remember this guy. I do feel bad. I do feel bad because he played quite a lot for Olympiacos, but the midfield change in the winter was one of the best we did since a lot of years. The quality in the midfield now is insane.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised. I can't pretend I've seen Horta playing a lot before he came to Olympiacos. But when you look
Yep.
at his profile, I knew he was going to be good for Olympiacos. Maybe under Carvajal, he wouldn't have been that good for Olympiacos, but he has enough quality to be good no matter who the coach is. And I remember saying that. During shows when Carvajal was there, and I was saying, okay, what matters during the winter market is that player good enough to play for Olympiacos, no matter who the coach is? And the answer is yes, because Horta will play even if Lemonis takes the job, if Ibagasa takes the job, if Anigo takes the job, no matter what, Chiquinho, Horta will be used anyway.
Yep.
Carmo will be used anyway. And that's the
Yep.
signing we needed.
And he's just absurdly efficient, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Horta, there's just class, extremely good player. I mean, another one also with like close to 100 touches today, and I think he had again over like 90% pass accuracy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just absurd because he doesn't just play the ball backwards or like 2 feet next to him. He makes ambitious passes.
yeah.
He's really smart, very, very technically sound. And I mean, I just can't get over this player. Um, I love watching him play, and I think in a way he's also really good on the defensive side of the ball too. He wins the ball a lot behind the ball. He had the assist. I mean, this guy's he's so good. He's so good, Martial. I,
It's
I think I think I like him better than Huang and Baum too. To be honest with you, I like him better overall as a player.
uh, I loved Wong, but I don't think it was good enough for a team. I don't know. His career kind of ends toward that. You cannot create a team with Huang. Or either he has bad luck for when it comes to picking clubs, but Horta has been playing good level of European football for a long time now, and Horta is playing exactly as I was expecting a player from Braga to play.
Yeah.
Smart player, not a big name, but a very efficient player, smart player, nice to watch. Uh, and the pass he did against Ferencváros for Fortounis, it's exactly what I
So
was
nice.
expecting from Horta. And yes, it has the physicality that Huang lacked because Huang, in every big Greek game, was almost not murdered, it would be too much, but he was outplayed because he wasn't physical enough for that.
Right. And you look at like we were talking about Alexandropoulos earlier, right? And how he like got lost in no man's land. You look at the difference between Horta, who is occupying that role as the player that gets forward more in the midfield three, and you compare that to like what Alexandropoulos does, and it's like night and day. He stays pretty concise with the midfield. He's very good, knows where he has to be, very positionally astute. And when Chiquinho ended up coming on too, it was just a completely different animal. He, such a quality player. I mean, I haven't seen anything from an official source, at least regarding Horta, but I've been seeing a lot of rumors that the team is already beginning trying to get him to stay for the renewal process. My only concern is no concern about the player, at least, or his ability. My worry is because he came here for Carvajal. He came here because Carvajal asked. I worry about how upset the player is that Carvajal's gone. To me, that's the only thing that would be stopping us from bringing him here and actually act, because you cannot tell me this club, there's no way the club is looking at this player and saying, okay, we're going to keep him for the year and then not buy him. You pay that option yesterday. Yeah. $4.5 million for this guy is a steal. 27 years old, Martial.
Yeah.
You still have resale value on him.
That's true. No, but I thought about that. I don't know. I think it was after Ferdinand Vargas. I was wondering, like, why Braga let him go? I mean, even if he's not playing as a starter, this guy off the bench, it's super hard to replace in the winter market. But anyway, I don't know. I was thinking about that the amount of options we would need to activate this summer, we will need to prioritize players. Like Alexandropoulos will probably be the last one on the pyramid. I'm not counting Carmo because the option is too high for me. I don't know what's behind that deal to have confidence for him to stay in Olympiacos, but Horta and
it's not happening.
Horta
it's not happening. Carmo's not happening. You read the article. I think it was Kotsis. Was it Kotsis that said it?
No, it was Economides.
Oh, then maybe it was maybe it was Nikolakopoulos. One of the two. Oh, sorry, that's right. It was Adonis Economides from Sport 24. Yeah, and he had pointed out he's only here because Sergio Conceição, the manager at Porto, had the issue with him, and he's gone at the end of the season. He's probably not going to be there. So if he's not going to be there, then there's no way. Carmo was their biggest transfer ever at Porto. They're not just giving him up to us that easily.
No, yeah. But I would be happy if he just came for 6 months, 6 good months with Olympiacos. It's better than 0. I mean, I would not be mad if he's not staying next season. But Horta, the question I have is, would you take Horta over Podence if one of the two can't stay? Like the other one can't stay. I'm picking Horta for me. Hard choice, but I'm picking Horta.
Wait, hold on a minute. Is it Podence for Carmo? I thought you were saying Podence for Carmo. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying Podence or Horta.
Oh, Podence. Oh, Podence or Horta? Dude, I'm taking Horta 100%.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because I think I don't value Podence's contributions, right? But like you look at now let's look at our depth. Let's look at what we have. Like right now, I'm actually feeling pretty good about us in the wing position, right? Gelson Martins, okay, when he's healthy, he looks pretty good. But in the midfield, like Horta, you don't have a lot of other creative options for us in the midfield. We literally, our three, it's Heze, who's a defensive midfielder. You have Chiquinho, guys, pay attention, very good, great at progressing us forward. But in the final third, he has not been that involved. Horta's been the one that's been more involved, not Chiquinho. Chiquinho's a great player, but these guys occupy different roles. And Horta is amazing. If I had to pick between the two, I'm keeping him. But in reality, I don't think those are the two that we have to really choose between. I think it is we choose between maybe Podence and somebody else that plays further deep. If I'm thinking realistically here, but Podence is either way. They're both must buys, right? Because Podence is $5 million. Is that his buyout? $5 million for Podence. So they're both of their options. Like those two guys, you're buying at the end of the season. Podence, at the very least, you're buying because you're going to flip him. Even if he doesn't stay, you will flip him for $5 million. George Mendes has got something lined up, 100%.
Yeah,
and
we
then
could
Horta's
sign
just too good.
Pudense and sell him right after. It could
Right.
happen.
I think it will happen. I said it from the beginning when we first brought him in. There's no way I see Podence staying here another season.
Oh.
We buy him, and George Mendes has got to move for him. Even if it's the Nottingham Forest or something, he's going back to the Premier League in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it would be a good idea for him to stay another season. As much as I love Podence, I don't know. But we have time for that debate anyway.
Yeah, we have plenty of time to talk about that, but that's just how I see it as with regards to Podence. Yeah, Carmo. Now, okay, I'll see your previous situation. Do you keep one or the other? Do you give Podence to Porto to keep Carmo?
Yes.
that was quick. Didn't even think about it.
The question you have with I don't know, the amount of options we would be potentially activating needs player to be sold. So the question is, who's going to get sacrificed on this team to raise money for the options to be activated? And if Podence is the one that can attract good offers, and I think I wouldn't like Podence being pushed away for the club if he wants to stay there another season, because we know Olympiacos, we won't be able to find someone like Podence on the market. We haven't been able to do that during the last 2-3 years. But yeah. How much it can bring, that's the question. How much Podence worse on the market now?
I mean, he's still young, man. He's not like he's an old guy. You know, last his transfer market when he first came here was over 20 million. I know it's dropped, but there's no way he's 30. What, like 27 maybe? 20, he's 28. Yeah, dude, there's no way. You can still get money for him. Yeah, like he's still in his prime.
No, that's right.
There's no way this is true. Achilles Bales, a Portuguese tweet, said that Artur Jorge kicked Horta because he screwed his daughter. That makes sense.
Yeah, I've seen this tweet. I've seen the daughter's Instagram too, and I swear it's very possible. It's not like the Jardim and Marinakis situation.
Got a comment here from X from Tupakikos. I think I know who that is. I think I see this guy on Twitter, asking us to do a Twitter space, like a real Twitter space, so people can interact with us there. That's coming too, actually. We've never really done a space before. I don't think we've never hosted a space before, but it's something we've talked about. So we will try and get something done on spaces as well, for sure. It's hysterical. If that's the reason we end up getting Horta, fine. I don't care. As long as we can just do something to keep him, because he's amazing. George Gandilis, Marinakis needs to spend the money we know he has to keep the players we need. Plain and simple, it's long overdue. George, it's not a problem of him spending money. I promise you he spends a lot of money. The problem is where the money goes, or two, who's entrusted with the money. He spends money. He has dumped 8 figures of millions of euros into this club to cover losses for 3 straight seasons. Just remember that. The problem isn't spending money, it's where the money's going. 2 different things. And also FFP. But again, that's besides the point. A couple more comments here, Martial. John Moretti, instead of getting 15 players, I would love to solidify our team with making a few of these guys permanent. Wishful thinking. Yeah, I think everybody.
Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah, but I want to react on the comment saying that some big contracts are ending too, like El Arabi.
That's right.
I
2
don't know
million.
if Madi can be considered as a big contract. Probably
One,
yes.
he was 1.4 for us when he did his extension.
Yeah, probably.
1.4, 1.5.
I do believe one of two between Fortounis and Masouras will leave. I assume
Yeah.
Masouras probably. So yeah, it's like a NBA team. Like you free up space on the wage
Yeah.
potential. So probably that can be turned into fees.
But
But
Costa's contract wasn't that big. He was only 800K.
Yeah.
Masouras' contract is probably bigger at this
No,
point.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, no, but you are right. Like the El Arabi contract and Paskalakis renewed. It was 900K. They not 750. Anyway, that's pretty good for a goalkeeper. You don't usually see them make a million, even in Greece.
Now that the deal is good for us, I think under a
Yeah.
million. It can be considered big money for someone like Pashalakis, but when you look at the market,
It's big money for a goalkeeper in Greece.
yeah.
How many goalkeepers have we seen make a million? I can't think of one. I don't think Jose Sa made a million.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's good money for a goalkeeper.
True.
We're coming up to an hour here, boys and girls, but before we go on to man of the match coach's grade, Martial, what do you think are the chances of Panathinaikos or AEK dropping points in the next 2 seasons to put us, a little bit tighter to the lead? Both of them play Aris. Panathinaikos plays Aris in the next match week, which is this coming in 3 days, basically. And then AEK plays Aris next weekend. Think we have a chance to really make some ground?
Again, compared to Panathinaikos, yes, because it's visible that they are struggling since Ioannidis got injured. Like he has no reason right now. He's trying to pick up the pace. I do believe he's playing injured or slightly injured, but it's too important to rest at 100%. So I'm sure it's kind of. I can't prove that, but as I assume he's injured, and they got lucky to have Reyemiev. I don't know how to pronounce the guy name. Jeremiev. Well, you get that the Swedish striker, but without this guy, they would have been dropping points massively, because surprisingly, Bakasetas has been very mid since he came back to Greece, and they're running out of options. Those teams, when they have someone out, for example, in defense, they're running out of solutions. Someone like Biancone, for example, would play in every Greek club about of Olympiacos right now. And Ike looks like the main contender for me. I might have said PAOK is the main contender, but the squad of PAOK is the slightest one out of the big four in Greece. Like if one player is injured, the bench solution is terrible. Let's say like Samata is terrible striker.
Yeah.
They don't have enough solutions. But Aris, I don't think Aris being able to win at Hagia Sophia. Hopefully so, but we will need to win both derbies against AEK to have a chance.
Yeah. And then Panathinaikos lost point. They dropped points today, 1-1 versus Kifisia. Shakenfeld got a red card. So crazy stuff. They dropped points again. So we're now only 2 points behind Panathinaikos. We are still 5 points away from AEK, who are the leaders. And then I am already forgetting how many points Balk had. But anyway, that's not super important. The important part is hopefully there's an opportunity here, and it's really not this the title's definitely going to be decided in the playoffs. Ike, for me, has always had the best offense in the league, period. Even though they weren't scoring, I thought that they were doing just the way they play for me. It's still very direct. There's a lot of players that Ike has that I still think are very good, like Pineda. I don't see a lot of people talking about him. Orbelin Pineda for me is like one of the best players in the league. Incredible player. I like him a lot. They have a good team. They have a good team. I see a lot of people talking about the refs with Ike. They have a good team. They have a very good team, and they're hitting stride and scoring goals now when it counts. They were struggling early on in the season. Balk hit a crazy patch of form. They were fantastic, outperforming all of their underlying data.
Yeah.
But I think there's an opportunity here. So very exciting. I haven't been this excited all season to see like where things go. I actually feel like we have a chance for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, me too. I mean, when you see even a rotated lineup as we had today, that the amount of quality we have in the team needs to speak at some point in the season. It needs to speak. There is no way we end up fourth in this league. It's not possible. Yeah. Seeing how Panathinaikos is playing, seeing the limited options of PAOK right now, it's just not possible. It would be a crime against football to end up fourth in this league, even if we had a massive mess during a large period of the season. That's my opinion, but I might be wrong. Also, Almeida for me is super good when it comes to rotate the players. Like every Ike players had momentum during the season. It's insane when you think of it. Ponce was shit, then he was good, then he was super good. Garcia was shit, injured, and then it came back to be good. Zuber goes from key player to bench warmer to key player, and same for every player they have. Eliasson is the bargain players they have. Like no one speaks about this guy, but
very good,
consistent. And Araujo is disappeared. Like, is he even playing anymore? But I'm sure this guy will have some goals during playoffs. I do see this guy scoring the winning goal for the title.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point he'll kick in. One quick question, Martial, before we go to man of the match, coach the grade. Eli, are we going to get 4 points back from CAS? Eli, I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's a possibility. I could see us getting the 1 point because remember, technically the match ended in a forfeit. Panathinaikos got the win, which was 3 points, and we were deducted an additional point for what happened. I can see us getting the point back, just one, because if we don't and they decide to get rid of the 4 point advantage for Panathinaikos, we have to replay the match, and I don't see that happening. I know what Nikolakopoulos keeps saying. I'm just telling you, I don't see them overturning the result. Panathinaikos, I think, keeps the 3 points. I think we get at least 1 point back, which even 1 point at this stage is it's something for us. That's how I see it. I don't think so. Don't go hoping for 4 points because I don't think that's happening. Did you have a comment on that, Martial, before we go to man of the match?
No, I would say the 1 point.
Yeah, that's realistically all I see us getting, if we even get anything. But anyway.
But the thing is, playing one game more could be in favor of Olympiacos, obviously, because I think Panathinaikos can't handle the amount of games they have to play.
Right. I don't think Tarim can handle it either. I don't rate Tarim. I don't think he's a great coach, but that's just me. Anyway, let's move on with it, Martial, before we close up. Man of the match, coach's grade. What do you have? Who's your man of the match today?
It's Horta. There is no debate for me on that. Horta, and coach's grade would be It's hard to say. Probably B, because the only thing for me it did wrong was subbing off Navarro too late. But the fact it admitted its own mistakes after the game with the statements gives me optimism. So it's a B for me.
You actually, I thought you were going to say El Kabi.
No, I would
As
say
man of the
Horta
match.
because he played longer.
Yeah. So Horta for me is he's also my man of the match. I mean, two man of the match accolades in a row. He's fantastic. I already said what I had to say about him earlier. But my coach's grade, I think I'm a little bit more positive, I think, than you. I'm giving Mendilibar a B plus, personally. I was thinking about A minus even, but A minus, probably a few more things would have had to go our way sooner. I don't. It has to, for me, it has to be positive, because it's not, if we had struggled to create chances, then I would have given him a much lower grade. But he can't be there scoring the goals for the team. The team was set up. We were dominant the whole game, making plenty of opportunities until the end. Finally, some went in. There's only so much I can put on the coach from that, except for maybe, Navarro for me was having a poor game. I thought he should have come out sooner. Personally, that's how I saw that. Maybe a change or two that I wouldn't have done, or a change or two I would have done earlier with a couple of other players. But I think I can't complain. Like, I don't see realistically what more he could have done in certain respects. So that's why it's a B plus for me. As far as the chat, the poll went up. El Kabi is the man of the match for the chat with 56. Oh, it's changing. People are voting. 56% of the vote for El Kabi. Andre Horta at 20%. Podence at 19%. And Costas Fortounis at 5%. There were a couple of people that didn't like that I put Fortounis in the man of the match poll. The only reason I did that, I couldn't think of a number 4, like somebody I thought played well enough to be in the man of the match debate. So I was looking on SofaScore, and I saw that he was the second highest rated player. And I just threw him on there because I saw that. So, but a lot of people did not like his inclusion into the man of the match debate. But there you guys go. That's your man of the match coach's grade. Thank you for those that voted and told us your man of the match coach's grade. Spanos, you're coming in here lately, but we talked about it. The rumor is they already are working on it. We talked about maybe some issues around it, but anyway, Martial, any closing comments before we get out of here?
I've seen a comment about Richards, and I wanted to say that I kind of liked what he did today. And I'm surprised. I don't know why this player did not start a easy Greek game before. It reminds me. I don't know those loanies we've seen in the club recently, like I don't know Carbonic and stuff that were used in Greek games like that, and they don't need to be amazing to have the chance to play in those games. They just need to be decent or to do the job. And I do believe Richards did the job today. And it's exactly what we need for Richards. Yep. Is he a rotation player? Yes. Was he good as a rotation player? Yes. He doesn't need to be prime Roberto Carlos to deserve to play another game after that.
Right.
Maybe Mendilibar will come back into more logic in the next games. But yeah, same apply for, I don't know, Kini if he plays as a right back, substitute right back against Panathinaikos or Volos, it would be great. We need to use those players more.
I agree with you.
Not comparing Richards and Kini, by the way.
George Pagliazzo, SofaScore, FOTMob, or Y-Scout. Y-Scout for me is a better data set than either of the other ones. SofaScore just populates faster, and so does FOTMob. But FOTMob is, I don't like it. Personally, I think it's bad data. One last question. Alex050, do you see Leidner being our second left back next season? We are actually very supportive of Doran Leidner on this show. He's got great talent. we're not the only ones that think that. I promise you. He's a very good player. He's just recovering from injury. The last we heard from his agent was that they were expecting, this was about 2 weeks ago, to be given the all clear by the doctor so that he could train with the team. So not sure how things are going with Mendilibar. Maybe we'll check in with them and see how they're doing. But I think talent-wise, he can do it. At the very least, challenge Ortega for a spot. But we'll see what happens in the summer. But I have high hopes for Doran. Anyway, Martial, any last bits before we go ahead and get out of here?
No, it's gonna be a busy week anyway. So
it's gonna be a very busy week.
I like that.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Gate 7 International. A lot of fun stuff coming up. Sorry, I didn't get the merch in. The last samples, I thought they were going to come in yesterday. They did not make it. I am getting them this week, so we'll have more samples, more pictures to be able to share with you, and we will drop the link to the live store so you guys can check it all out. Super excited. A lot of matches coming up, giveaways. We're pumped. We'll see you guys after all of it. We're always here in the good and the bad. This is Gate 7 International.